you very much for that introduction. Happy to be here. Welcome everyone. I want to. This is a topic not best known as many other topics in climate change. But before to start to speak about the sport sustainability in this situation of climate change or emergency or this terrible situation we are experiencing, because I don't know how to call it, but it's really a difficult situation. So this is my problem always with the mics in the UPF and other. It's okay? Yeah. So we were a little bit speaking about the meaning and the importance of these tools, because they are very interesting tools about many different things on the climate emergency, sustainability, and so on. I have, this is a pity, this is the last seminar, because I think I was in most of them. I'm not sure if all, I think for all, I have learned a lot. So thank you for organizing that. Really is one of the most interesting initiatives in the UPF in the last year. Today's topic is as I said before, is we have here a couple of experts. They are doing their thesis on sport ethics and integrity. And but a sport is normally something that people consider like, I don't know, there's something for enjoyment and so on, but it's also an important social topic in many aspects, right? And also because it's a really important business topic. The meaning of a sport in business is higher than most of the people consider it, and particularly in the European Union, in the United States, for example, but also has an important impact in environment, right? So the aim or the goal of the talk today is, on the one hand, to see how the climate emergency is impacting in sport, particularly in big events sport, right? Because not because main focus in big sport events, but because it's the part of the sport that most people know, right? And when we realize how climate change impacts in big sports events, we also realize how big events impact the environment and the meaning of climate change in grassroots sports, right? And on the other hand, it's also, or at the end of the talk, I shall introduce some of the policies that sport government bodies, main sport government bodies are introducing in sport. So I try to keep it, don't trust so much in my measure of time, but I try to keep it more or less 35-40 minutes, and then we can discuss a little bit, if that's okay. But feel free to interrupt in any moment and say, hey, I don't understand that, or could you go a little bit on that? Okay, so this is how work that. I don't know. Okay, no problem. We can pass. Yeah. So let me start with something. Yeah, it's okay. With something that is very well known as the news, right? The problem. These pictures are from here, from Catalonia, all of them. But no, except this one, right? So we are now experience a terrible situation with no water and many of the recreational sport we have possibility to be played. So we were enjoying a lot of activities outdoors, but the door empired, right? No more sport, water sport, outdoor water sport in Catalonia, and probably is not the only summer or only not summer because we are not in summer yet, right? The only 4 months for that, but the first time we are experiencing this situation, and that's really terrible, right? But there's not only water sport, but also mountaineering and so on. The other situation, the opposite one, is that we didn't expect that in last part of May, the flows are raining some sport as well, like last week in Emilia-Romagna in Italy, right? But the Formula One championship was suspended by the flood. Of course, the terrible situation is not for Formula One. We don't care about that. We care about the people in Emilia-Romagna. But this is also a terrible situation for the people who are investing in sport, right? And the picture is Formula One. But the problems are also for grassroots sport, for the children who are playing grassroots sport in the northern Italy or here in Catalonia, because it's not something that happens in a region, right? We are, yesterday or 2 days ago was in Madrid, the same situation. 3 weeks ago was in the south of Catalonia, Valencia, and so on. So these news are impacting us so much, but are they really news? There's something that happens and we have been experienced for many years, but now we realize that, oh, that's terrible, right? Let's take a look to the situation in sport. A few years ago, no, we don't need to go so back because that's important, right? 9 years ago, the temperatures in the open tennis in Melbourne were about 33, 34 Celsius degree, right? That's impossible to play tennis at the hours that they are usually playing. And this situation impacts in the health of the tennis player, right? To the point that many of them were not able to finish the match. Right, and at that time, 9 years ago, it was like, oh my God, all these people putting ice baths on the head and the body and so on. But that's not normal. It was like a unique situation, and nowadays we are expecting that situation is the normal one, right? And this is the 2018 New York Open tennis too. You say, okay, but maybe you are a little bit biased because you love tennis. I love tennis, true, but I love most of the sports. But this situation in the New York, the USA Open tennis was probably one of the most complicated because tennis players were playing about 36, on average, 36, 37 Celsius degree. So that's something that today is not possible in any field of labor. It's not allowed by the labor law, right? So I say, okay, but these people are very rich people. Maybe labor law shouldn't apply to them. Okay, but these people could be very rich people, but many other people who are playing tennis and they have to travel a lot for many other countries, they are not rich people. And let me know to put it in brackets, but this is also, if you take a look, probably you know who is this man, Djokovic, was the church open without a shield, putting ice in his church. But probably you don't know who is this woman, Alice Cornet, who was penalized for taking out the shield on the pitch, right? That's the difference. This is the difference between men and women also in a sport. After this situation, and Alice Cornet was penalized, they changed the rules. But how is possible that the empire penalized that applying the rules of the round, saying it's not possible to take out your share on the pitch, experience that situation, right? So one thing is we need to consider, well, it's possible to host this kind of events at this temperature? Is that something that we are expecting from the people who love sports? And maybe you can say, well, it's okay. If they agree to participate, they should be prepared for that. But that is important to consider because the impact of these temperatures, if you remember, 2018 and 2019 in the Northern Hemisphere were really high and impacting the health of others, right? And this means that they lost a lot of their capacity to be coordinated and enjoy the way they are running, playing, and so on. So this situation put clearly in risk the health of the athletes and need to be clearly modified if we want to protect them, right? When saying that, because as most of you know, when we are speaking about big sport events, but also normal events, the whole cities and the countries and so on awarded to organize these big events, they are betting for that many years ago, right? So when the 2019 World Rugby Cup was hosted in Japan, they were experiencing very high typhoon. Maybe you have suffered a little bit that. And in Doha, the temperatures when the World Championships were hosting in Doha were about 38 Celsius degree. So that implies that many people, or many of the athletes, asked to the World Athletics Federation to suspend the championships, right? And the most important was not what happened there. Should we sport governing bodies and should big sport events to think to preview what happens in 10 years? I'm asking you that because probably you know that Spain, Portugal, and Morocco are trying to organize the World Cup in 2013, right? 2030, sorry. It would be that possible in July 2030, having the football matches at a normal hour? Or should be these matches organized, I don't know, 10 o'clock or something like that, which implies more energy, more consume of energy, and so on, right? Okay. 2020, the Australian tennis, you remember the fires involving Australia and so on? This is a consequence of the high temperatures, the fires that we cannot control anymore, that happens here in Italy, in Spain, Portugal, Greece, and more and more in all parts of the world, right? This is the situation we expect for big sports events. and with the tennis players, spectators and so on, in putting in risk how they play, not enjoying that, which is one of the main aims of sporting events, the situation. Are we thinking about the meaning and the impact that the climate change has in the people who are really interested in the sport? And finally, Tokyo, you remember, Summer Olympics, 2020 Summer Olympics that were not, because they were canceled by the coronavirus, and 2021, 9 in the morning, 39 degrees Celsius, with a situation in which the tropical storms, the temperature, and again, the situation is the same. Alice asking, please, we can't compete anymore at that. In fact, if we take a look at the world records in the last big event, summer sport event, they are decreasing. Not they are going better, right? So one question is, probably would be sport, or particularly summer sport events that need to keep inside, indoors, and not anymore outdoors. Is that something that we would like for sports? But that's the situation. Maybe you think, oh, okay, but that was something that happened in every 4 years. It was like a coincidence, right? Okay, that's the case of summer sport. What happens? Or the situation with the triathlon of New York, that in 2019 was suspended because it was so hot, and in 2020 the problem was that it was raining a lot and it was not possible. So they didn't know anymore how to organize it. But if that's the case of summer sport, think about what happens with our mountains. So this picture, this photograph, this picture is terrible. It's terrible because it's not sustainable anymore. Not for the point of view of the environment, not for the point of view of sports, not for the point of view of enjoying the nature and the aim of sport. So what happened, what we are doing with the sports? Mountains are not sustainable anymore. Or at least they are not sustainable in the same way that we were experiencing and hosting winter sport, right? And for all of you who probably like, I don't know, winter sport, that kind of situation is the common one. Here in Catalonia, you go to the Pyrenees, and the difference between, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago and now is that there is no snow. So 15 years ago or 20 years ago, I'm not speaking when I was a child, because it was the time of dinosaurs, but you went to the mountain and the snow were there. So you expect that something that for you enjoying, right? And the situation of winter sport was really a winter sport. Now, and I remember the first time I see this canyon putting snow, artificial snow, I said, oh my God, that's fantastic, because allow you. But it was something like that. In case there are small snow, right? Now, the canyon are necessary. So no one thinks that you can go to ski for skiing in the Pyrenees without artificial snow. This changes a lot our mentality and our way to understand winter sport. And sorry. And think about that kind of amusement sport for the people, right? To put in a snow in this kind of fire, right? Just to allow people to have a small time for diversion, and a small child to follow the snow. But this is not so different. That happens in at the beginning in the first slide with outdoor water sport, right? It's more or less the same. So are we caring about the situation of our mountains in this climate emergency? Is no one thinking that probably we need to reformulate the way that we understand and enjoy and organize winter sport? I'm asking you that because that's the real situation, right? The situation we can contrast in nature. But if you take a look at the big events, the Winter Olympics from 2010 to now, the weather was more and more warmer. So till the point that this is Vancouver, this is Sochi, right? That's normal. That's normal. A winter game in that way. But this is more terrible. This is Beijing. Do you remember last year, winter sport in Beijing, the mountain, the whole mountain without snow? Only this part of the mountain with artificial snow, and the situation, right? That's terrible. But here we have the cortina, right? La bella cortina. Per tutti gli italiani che sono qua, ma la cortina è bellissima per andare in inverno a schiare, sì. But how many years is a sustainable cortina in 2026? There's a picture, but there's a real situation of cortina now, right? A paradise. Cortina is really a paradise, but how Cortina would be during the Winter Games in 2 years ago. And the main worry of the Commission for the Protection of Health is, but this is terrible because the risk of having Cortina hosting Winter Game is a big risk, not because maybe they don't have or there are not enough snow for hosting the game. No, because all the problems that come together with the Winter Games, right? And if that happened with Cortina in 2 years, do you remember that? Do you remember that 2006 Barcelona and a big political discussion between Catalonia, Aragon, the mediation of Spain? But I'm not interested in the political discussion. I'm interested in the protection of Pyrenees. You know that Pyrenees is affected for climate change 32 times more than the rest of the part of Spain. So that probably that we are losing the glacier and the all the snow in Pyrenees very fast. With the fastness that is terrible because we are losing one of the natural environments more appreciated in Spain. So the discussion or the question is the idea of organizing Catalonia Pyrenees or Barcelona Pyrenees 2030 a good idea? Would be in 10 years, in 8 years, 7 years, Pyrenees, the capacity to host, to have not snow, because we know that in Pyrenees in 2030 probably will be not the capacity or the snow enough to host the games, but also the consume of energy, the pollution to this part of Catalonia. So that's till here, and I think I'm keeping more or less in time. The part that a sport or big sport event are affected by climate change. Now we change. I try to show in 10 minutes, no more than 10 minutes, to introduce some of the policies that big sport organization or government bodies adopted to fight, or at least try to control this situation, right? The first thing that we need to analyze, to know, is the difference or the contribution to Winter Olympics and Summer Olympics and football or soccer. For you, I think football, call it, not American people, right? This is a million of tons that the different events have in the carbon footprint, right? So if you take a look in the Summer Olympics, that it was really increasing from Beijing to Rio, and in theory, Paris next year should be more neutral in terms of carbon footprint. But that's really a difficult situation, because, or a difficult topic, because we are not able never to control what they are counting for in footprint, right? But particularly worry is the Winter Olympics, because if even they have a small emission, the problem is that these emissions are very, or the pollution is very concentrated in natural areas, right? In areas that normally we appreciate so much and try to care about. Why? Because when you are the organizer of a winter event, you try to put it in the most beautiful place, right? In a beautiful mountain and a protected environment. So this is the perfect combination to destroy it. Just for enjoyment of this is the question that we need to address, right? Because it's true that a sport are an enjoyable event, that they attract a lot of investment, but also we need to care for the places that we put sport, right? And particularly outdoors sport, and particularly mountain or winter sport. And we have here the precious sport that all the people love, except me, football, right? Football is a clear contributor to carbon emission. And you can say, well, it's not so much, it's not the difference between Summer Olympics and football, the footprint of FIFA or the World Championship, Summer Olympics is not so different. And that's true. That's true, except that the IOC policies try to be more honest. Let me find the appropriate word, that FIFA in that sense, even if FIFA started before to be worried about the climate change, the climate emergency, and so on, right? Why I'm saying that? Because one of the you remember the world champions in football was the first one who started with these policies of control the pollution and the footprint was in 2006 in German Republic, right? But they invest a lot, but the results were not clear. But the last one, this year, Qatar, a World Cup carbon neutral. They promised this. That was the promise of FIFA. This is the first time that World Championship is carbon neutral. So carbon neutral is a concept, right? To get it in reality is really, really difficult. So, but the problem is that neither carbon neutral and probably the discussion are because we don't have yet definitive data about carbon emission, but the discussion is between 3.8 and 9.6. Clearly the highest carbon footprint of all the football championship. And that's not normal, but if you consider when what part of the globe the World Championship will host, and the promise of always cooling and all the traveling that because you remember that traveling is not a problem. Infantino said, the president of FIFA, for those of you who are not familiarized with sport, that the Qatar was a really nice place because travel was in the middle of all travel. So you are recognizing that all the people need to travel, right? And you need to all the flights going to and going out from Qatar and the footprint they have. Okay, so just to leave time for discussion, winter sport were always a very discussed sport because they were places in natural environments, and the first time it was almost 55 years ago in Grenoble, in France, when the population of Grenoble say that they wouldn't like to host the games because they were destroying natural environment. And this here, some of the start of the change in a sport governing body, right? The first time was in this Norwegian small population, Lillehammer and Sydney. They started to change the way they see a sport related with environment. From here, at the beginning of this 21st century, the IOC started to develop a new strategy to make a sport sustainable. Now, I think 3 weeks ago, the IOC got this international standard for cleaner events and so on. But the problem is that maybe you have the possibility, or you are presenting the organization of these big events like sustainable and cleaner, but how are IOC how is IOC influencing in national Olympics committees and the national and the committees organizers of the game? Or they are imposing that in the sense that you not only should present on the paper that you are committed with clean sport, but also with the results. But that's the case of Qatar. They promise and they assure that will be the first World Championship carbon neutral in the history, right? And now we are saying that what happens. Can we now take out the cap, the organization, or imposing a sanction to Qatar and say, hey, guys, you promised that the World Cup would be the first World Cup carbon neutral, and now you had to pay for all of that. Why not? This was one of the ideas starting with the IOC. Well, that's the force of FIFA employing that. This is what I told you before about the German Federation and so on. But at the end of the day, nothing happens because they were not able to impose that. And the solution in 2010 in South Africa, as you remember, or 2014 in Rio was, okay, I can pay. But that's not a solution. Money is not a solution for the climate emergency. So we need to find the way in which, or we ensure that big sport events are almost carbon neutral, or at least with a small footprint. Otherwise, not possible. We are speaking about 1,000 of people traveling, right? Not only athletes, we are speaking about 1,000 of people traveling, coaches, spectators, and so on. And this is really important. So we don't have an alternative now, and we are not trying to find one. Yeah, maybe you are thinking e-sports, but e-sports are also has also a big footprint, right? And this is the idea of the United Nations climate action, just to try to ensure and to put an initiative just to transform big sport events in at least be respectful with the environment and try to decrease the emission they have and the impact that they have in the planet. Can we be optimistic about that? It depends how you define optimist, right? In the sense that who are involved? IOC are involved in that. FIFA is also involved in that problem. But you know that the structure of big sports organization is like a pyramid, right? So we have here FIFA, which is a federation of federation, and FIFA can try to impose something, but then when till it arrives, this policy arrives and put it in reality is really difficult. And the IOC is a little bit different, but the possibility of imposing and controlling really the organization of these big events are really difficult. And this is some of the steps, more serious steps, from the less to the most important. The UEFA one is really a clear fiasco. And most important are the World of Athletics is trying to be more and more cleaning, making a plan in 10 years and trying to ensure that every year they can organize more cleaner events. And also the World Cycling, but also the problem that the World of Cycling has is the problem with the seas, right? Maybe they try to be more cleaner, but at the time they arrive, the sea is not allowed anymore to have competition. So with 2 minutes later for my promise, I think we can have it here and and give you the opportunity of all of us to discuss and speak a little bit about that. Okay, thank you.